Today we're going to talk about climates of the world. So we're going to talk about half of them today, the first half of from the project and then the second half. Normally what we do is I have kids present their projects and then we take notes off of them. Instead of doing that, what I did was I just compiled up all the information you need for that chart and then it's all right here on this PowerPoint and then the next one for tomorrow, okay? So we're just doing the first half of this one. All right, so climates of the world. Here we go. Okay, so first one, Mediterranean. This is the one that I give you as an example. So Mediterranean is primarily in the middle latitudes, so the 30 to 40 latitudes. This is found around the Mediterranean Sea in northwest United States and then in Australia as well. The seasons are usually very mild. There's not a whole lot of fluctuation in temperature because it's right there on the water. Okay, so very mild summers and winters. Summer is around 72 degrees, maybe a little bit warmer than that. Winters will go down as far as 35 to 60. Okay, that's about as low as it gets. As far as precipitation goes, it rains there a lot, especially in the winter. So that's what kind of keeps the temperatures pretty consistent. And so they get about 20 inches a year. Oftentimes it's a little bit more than that. As far as vegetation goes, so they have evergreens. So evergreens, whenever we say evergreens, we're not talking about necessarily always pine trees because that's usually what people think of. We're also talk about just anything that stays green all year round. Okay, so like a palm tree, for example, is an evergreen. There's different bushes in that are also evergreens. Okay, so those are primarily found in northwest United States, but then in the Mediterranean area, in the Mediterranean Sea area, you'll see more like bushes and shrubs in that are evergreens. Also in the Mediterranean area, you'll see grapes. That's also in Northwest USA as well, grapes. But figs, olives, citrus and fruits is primarily in the Mediterranean area, and then small shrubs and grasses. As far as animals go, so the animals that are listed, some of these are coming out of the Mediterranean Sea, and then some of these are on land. So you have the loggerhead turtles, the monk seal, dolphins, sharks, rays. Those are in the sea. And then you have sheep, goats, rabbits. Those are primarily on land. Okay, so those are the different types. Okay, moving on. So tropical rainforest is the next one. So primarily this is more low latitude. So this is around the equator. So location would be South America, West Africa, Southeast Asia, America, United States. So very lower part of United States by like Florida, and then Madagascar as well. There's no real seasons because it sits so close to the equator that the Earth doesn't change that much. It's constantly getting hit with sunlight, so the temperatures don't range that much. But temperatures will range from about 70 to 85 degrees. It's very, very, very humid in tropical rainforest. It rains a lot. This is like the part of the earth that rains the most. Okay, so they get anywhere from 80 to 400 inches of rain a year, which is a ton. So they're inside of rainforest. There's like three levels of vegetation. So on the top, you have like your big trees, and they kind of create a canopy on the top, and so not a whole lot of sunlight is getting through. And so you can kind of see that in this picture. There's not a ton of sunlight getting through here. But then in your mid-level, you have like your ferns, there's some vines, orchids, some of those in the mid-level. And then on the bottom, this is where there's not a whole lot of actual vegetation on the bottom. What happens is a lot of the leaves in that fall, and then they decompose down here. The only thing you'll actually see as far as vegetation goes would be moss on the floor because it is very, very wet. Animals, there's a ton of animals. It's way too many to list. So about half the plant and animal species on Earth actually live in the tropical rainforest. Okay, next one is tropical savanna. So this is just a little bit outside latitude-wise of the tropical rainforest. Okay, so locations would be like Africa. This is really primarily Africa is the biggest part, but Brazil and India, anywhere kind of close to the equator, where it's more inland, it's a little drier. So summers can be wet, so there is some vegetation, but winters are very, very dry. And in the summers, once again, the temperatures don't range a whole lot because it's real close to the equator. So when we're talking the tropics, we're talking between the Tropic of Capricorn and Tropic of Cancer. Okay, so precipitation is around 30 inches a year on average. India did get 1,000 inches in 1 year, which is a crazy amount. But it doesn't rain as nearly as much as it would in the tropical rainforest. So remember, that was 80 to 400. That's an average. Okay. As far as vegetation goes, there's not a ton of vegetation. It's mostly grass and then a few scattered trees. So you can see in this picture here kind of what that would look like. As far as animals go, wildebeest, gazelles, which is what's pictured there, zebras, elephants, giraffes, lions, cheetahs, hyenas, and then large birds, so like ostriches and that you can find in those areas. Okay. Desert. So this is arid desert. There's polar desert would be another one, but we're calling that polar ice cap on your paper. Okay. But desert is total opposite of tropical rainforest. So there are coastal deserts that are by the ocean, so like the Sahara, and there's some like Southwest United States, the Middle East. There's a big, big desert that goes right through the middle of Australia. There's deserts all around. Okay, they're characterized by hot summers, very warm winters. In the coastal deserts, you'll have cooler winters. It usually gets very, very cold at night in deserts because there's no cloud cover to kind of keep some of the temperature in. So all that warmth from the sun throughout the day just kind of gets released at night, and so it can get very cold, especially at night. But they do have long, warm summers. Temperatures can range anywhere from like daytime 100 degrees Fahrenheit to nighttime down to 25, so that's below freezing. And the record, I'm Googling it right now. All-time record in the world was in Death Valley, which is in California, and that was 134 degrees Fahrenheit. So that's as hot as it's ever gotten. That was in a desert. As far as vegetation goes, it is very sparse because there's not a ton of water. So it's mostly cacti and succulents, something that can hold water in really easily. And then animal life, there's not a ton of animals either, but there are some like snakes, lizards, mice, gazelles, every once in a while, skinks, geckos. It's more reptilian animals more than anything in the deserts. Okay, steppe. So steppe is every continent except Australia and Antarctica. There's has a steppe climate. Mostly the bigger areas would be Eastern Europe and to Central Asia. Seasons, they have very cold winters that are similar to what we have, and very warm summers. Once again, there's not a ton of precipitation, so it can get very, very warm. So temperatures will range from in the summer to 70 to 73 and a half degrees on average, all the way down to winter, -4 to 32 degrees Fahrenheit. So very, very cold in the winters. Precipitation, like I said, they don't get a ton, so 10 to 20 inches a year. That's not a lot. So the vegetation is pretty sparse. So you'll see like trees, shrubs, poplars, aspens. Those are types of trees, and then animals, antelope, horses, gazelles, urial, and then marmots. All right, and then last one here is humid continental. This is the one that we actually live in. We're kind of right on the edge of humid continental and humid subtropical, but location is interior of continents between 30 to 60 degrees latitude, and this is mostly in North America. There's some in South America, and then Europe very much, and Asia very much. There's quite a big bit in that one as well. So in humid continental, you have warm, humid summers, cool, dry autumns, and then cold, harsh winters, and then warm, wet springs. So that's exactly what we have here. In the summer, the average is around 71. In our area, because we're kind of on the lower edge of it, we get higher temperatures. So our average here would probably be in the 80s. But we can reach up to 100 degrees. Even, we've had temperatures up to 110 in this area. Uh, and then winter, the average is around 25 degrees. But once again, that can get really low. It can go down into the negative tens. As far as precipitation, it's kind of in the middle. So we get about 20 to 50 inches a year as far as precipitation. So actually, that makes really good farmland for which is what's shown there, but really good farmland in these areas. Vegetation, so we have all kinds of different vegetation, conifer and deciduous trees, lots of different types of grasses, shrubs. It's, like I said, very excellent for farming. And animals, there's a wide variety of animals in our climate. So bears, wolves, coyotes, deer, lots of small animals like rabbits, squirrels. I mean, there's all kinds of different animals. You see cows there, although those are not natural anymore. People move cows because they're so domesticated. But anyway, so that's it for today. Tomorrow I will give you the second half, and then there will be a little assignment with it tomorrow. I hope you all have a wonderful day.